This meeting is being recorded.
नमस्कार आणि रविवारच्या आजच्या आपल्या BMMच्या मेडिटेशन अँड सेल्फ केअर ग्रुपच्या सेशन मध्ये सगळ्यांचं स्वागत. आज आपल्याला सगळ्यांना माहितीच आहे की नुकताच आपण इंटरनॅशनल डे ऑफ योगा साजरा केला. तर त्याच विषयाला धरून आजची आपली जी स्पीकर आहे चैताली मर्दे, जी आपल्याशी बोलायला कॅलिफोर्नियाहून बे एरियातून जॉईन झाली आहे. ही योगा, मेडिटेशन, न्यूट्रिशन आणि म्हणजे ती मेनली डायटिशियन आहे. पण ह्या सगळ्या क्षेत्रातला तिचा अभ्यास आणि प्रॅक्टिस आहे. तर ती त्याविषयी आपल्याशी आज बोलणार आहे. अँड वी आर रिअली लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू इट चैताली. तर मी जास्त ओळख करून देणार नाहीये. चैताली, तू स्वतःविषयीच ओळख करून दे आणि आपण या सत्राची सुरुवात करूया.
जरूर. थँक्यू सो मच सायली. थँक्यू. तुम्हाला सगळ्यांनाच माझा नमस्कार. आणि आय रिअली ॲम ग्रेटफुल फॉर दिस ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी. थोडंसं माझ्याविषयी, मी मुख्य मुंबईतली महाराष्ट्र, आणि तिकडे मी डायटिशियन म्हणून काम करायचे. इथे मी 2000 साली आले कॅलिफोर्नियामध्ये, आणि माझा अभ्यास पुढे ग्रॅज्युएट स्टडीज आय कम्प्लिटेड इन न्यूट्रिशन. मला योगा कायमच आवडलं, पण इकडे आल्यावर मी त्याचा जास्ती अभ्यास केला, टीचर ट्रेनिंग कंप्लीट केली, आणि so I completed my yoga teacher trainings, and then I got into mindfulness and meditation. दोन्ही क्षेत्र मला खूप आवडतात. मला न्यूट्रिशन, योगा आणि माइंडफुलनेस तितकंच आवडतं, आणि इट जस्ट सो हॅपन्स दॅट दे मिक्स वेल टुगेदर. आणि ह्याच विषयावर आपलं आज थोडंसं त्याच्यातला एक भाग मी आज तुम्हाला सांगू इच्छिते. So today we are going to talk how mindfulness can help us with our own thoughts and feelings. And the practice of mindfulness is immensely popular, especially these days. But before I even start the formal talk, just a show of hands. How many of you are currently having thoughts in your minds? Just show of hands. And so thoughts are universal, right? Many of you might be thinking that आता ही मुलगी आम्हाला सांगणार आमच्याच विचारांबद्दल, आमच्या डोक्यातल्या, आणि किंवा कोणी विचार करत असेल की हिला काय माहिती माझ्या डोक्यात काय चाललंय ते. किंवा you know, I want to recognize that. I want to acknowledge की ह्या ग्रुपमध्ये माझ्याहून बरेच वयस्कर मंडळी आहेत, आणि probably much more life experience in all of you. And I do want to recognize it. आणि मी फक्त ह्या गोष्टीचा अभ्यास करून जे काय शिकले ते तुमच्याशी I would like to share it with you all. And so mindfulness tells us how universal our mind qualities are. They are very universal, even though each person has a unique mind, right, which is not the genetically, physiologically is not replicated. At least science has not found that. But the qualities of the mind are universal. आणि म्हणून the teachings apply to everyone. These teachings are originally from the Buddha, but I would like to share that the Buddha was a Hindu initially, and he never did recognize himself as a Buddhist. The teachings originated, I would like to say, from the Advaita, from Vedantas. So they are Hindu to begin with. I personally like the way these teachings have been brought to me by my teachers, because they teach in a secular atmosphere. And I believe in this kind of atmosphere, we can knit together people in a more profound way, where you do not need to be of a particular religion. Religions are more welcome. And like I said, I am a Hindu first and foremost, but they are not essential. And so, coming back to our topic today about how mindfulness can help us with our thoughts and feelings. Thoughts are initially good. We need our thoughts, right? Our minds are essential to our functions, डे टू डे लाईव्स. आपल्याला रोज जे काय कामं करायची असतील त्यासाठी आपण विचार करणं जरुरीचं आहे. वी थिंक, वी प्लॅन अँड देन वी कम्प्लीट आवर चोर्स. बट with mindfulness, we can distinguish between skillful and unskillful thoughts, between wholesome and unwholesome thoughts. And they are constant, right? Research has shown that a person can have somewhere between 15,000 and 65,000 thoughts per day. I like to say that I have 65,000 thoughts probably per minute. So it's constant. It's like a hamster wheel going on in our minds. We are thinking. And because of this, we start to believe our thoughts, even the unskillful thoughts, even the unwholesome thoughts. We start to think that they are real, they are true. And I would like to share an example here, something that happened to me. I was in a store. I was buying some things, groceries, and there was this woman with her child. Her child was young, probably 3 years old, and he was running all over the store, and she was busy in her phone, probably checking her messages. I don't know what she was doing. While I was shopping, I started to think that, oh my God, this lady, she needs to understand that her child is touching things probably that he should not be touching. And I don't know what she's doing. Then that child went to another aisle and touched something else, got some toy down from the shelves, and I kept on thinking that this is not right. As a parent, you should be quite aware about how and what your child is doing, and if he's causing some kind of havoc around the store. All these thoughts were running through my heads. And then with my cart, I started to go out of the store, and there was a big beeping sound. And that's when I realized that I had forgotten to pay, and I was ready to walk out of the store, judging that other lady who was probably maybe, attending to some kind of emergency. Who knows? So such is the mind, such is our minds, right? We have judgments, we have feelings, and they're constant. And so that alarm brought me back to my mind, and it's here, it's always here. That's the essential teaching of mindfulness, that can you bring your attention back to this present moment? Can you all right now feel the cushion probably underneath your seat? Can you feel your feet pressing down onto the floor if you're sitting down? Can you feel the presence of your body? Can you embody this presence? What that means is, can you feel your body from the top to the bottom? Can you feel your breath coming in through your nose? Intellectually, yes, we all know this. But to feel it, to feel the presence and be aware of this, is a different teaching altogether. And the practice is a lifetime, right? How long will it take? It will take a lifetime. But we have an opportunity to begin again each moment. Again, another thing that an example I would like to share. These stories, I feel like they come to me because I live and I'm alive, constantly living in this world, learning from my own mistakes. I was here, and initially when I immigrated to the US, I did not have a work permit. I was not allowed to work. I finished my graduate studies, and then I was given an opportunity to volunteer, not work yet, but to volunteer. And the work permit was probably in the process, in the pipelines. And I went to volunteer at this place, clinic, which catered to people underprivileged, and maybe you can talk to them, they said, about nutrition and tell them how and what they small changes that they can make in their lives. And the lady who was there, who was the head of this organization, I started a conversation with her, and I was telling her about nutrition and simple steps, really, what each and every one of us can do in our everyday lives. And she said, "Oh my God, you should definitely come here and work with us once you get the work permit. Right now, I'm sorry I cannot offer you that opportunity, but please contact us, come back." And she was very genuine about this. Like, I really believed her. I came back home, I was sharing this with a close friend of mine, and I was like, you know what, I think she really meant it when she said that I can go and work with her. And she was like, yeah, absolutely, you should. And she could see that I didn't believe her. And then she kind of tried to prod me, and she said, "Why, Chaitali? Why do you think that you should not?" I'm like, well, I studied mostly, my education here has been only for 2 years, and I studied mostly in the US, in India, and worked there. And how am I ever going to come here and do the work? Like, why would they think I am useful here? And then so she understood. And while I was talking to her, while I was voicing my thoughts, she understood, and I understood in that process that what I have been telling myself all this time is that you cannot do this. You are not a US citizen. You did not study here. Mostly your work experience has been in India, and I don't think you're going to be worthwhile here. So those were the thoughts, and I like to call them the critic's voice inside my head. And I, believe it or not, well, I believed it. I started to not believe it or not, but really truly believe it. And it imbibed in me. So can you recognize such a thought in your head, a critic's voice? My teacher likes to call this, and he believes, and I have come to understand, that it's not just one voice, right? It's a itsy bitsy shitty committee, he calls it, because it's a committee of voices. It's not just one voice. It's a voice. There might be a voice who will be telling you you're constantly behind on planning. You have to do all these things, but you're constantly lacking somewhere, right? Then there is a voice who's probably telling you that you're not good with your money, and you need to be on top of things, and you don't know how much you're spending, and you don't know what your income is. And then there is a voice that also tells me that you call yourself a mom? Really? Are you on top of things? Do you know what your children are doing? Do you know how you have to still be there for them? So this is constant, and this is the critic's voice. And as I learn and I practice this practice of mindfulness, I recognize these voices now. I can pinpoint these voices now. I can say that, okay, this is the voice. This is the Miss Mindfulness talking in my head, that, kind of trying to judge me about how mindful I am or I am not. This is the criticizing parent voice telling me that I'm not a good mom. I do not need to believe this voice. So pause for a moment. Think about it. In this moment, right now, is there a thought in your head that is telling you that, maybe in the background, very subtle, you didn't do that quite right yesterday, or you didn't do it quite right today morning? something, right? And can you maybe recognize this as just a thought, just a blimp in your mind, in your brain? It's not true. Thoughts are just that. They are thoughts. They are not true. The more we keep having the same kind of unskillful, unwholesome thoughts, the more we ingrain them. आपल्याला मराठीमध्ये म्हणतात, आपलं चित्त कुठे आहे, कशात आहे. That makes us. So we are and eventually become what our thoughts are. So we need to be more and more aware of what's going on in our heads and how can we skillfully manage it. And this is not to say that you're not going to have any thoughts. I still have thoughts constantly. But now, with practice, I can recognize these thoughts and I can call them out. And in that moment, that small, brief moment is the moment of mindfulness where I can begin again. So when I have this thought, I pause, take a moment, take one breath, one inhale, one exhale, understand it, that this is just a thought, and then move on. And in that moment, I have ingrained spaciousness within me. थोडीशी जागा आपल्या मनामध्ये, आपल्या हृदयामध्ये. And there is a difference between spaciousness and being spaced out. Many times I feel like I am on autopilot, right? I sat in my car and I went to one place. I don't remember how and what I was doing when I drove from point A to point B. Have you had these kind of experiences? We don't remember. We are in our heads. I don't remember. How did I get here? I got to that place, but I don't remember. Probably worrying about something. And people have asked me, some of my students have asked me, you keep saying about this worrying and how I should not maybe worry and think about it too much. The student actually called me after class and she said, well, then how am I going to take care of my daughter? Because she has so many health problems and I need to plan. I need to think through this and, understand it. And I'm like, sure. You definitely need to. Your mind is capable of doing that. And we have analyzing capabilities in our mind for a reason. Sit down, plan it, think about it, revise it once, twice, thrice. But what about when you're having the same kind of thought 10th time in the same day after you have gone through it? And all of us have done this, right? Again and again, hashing out the details. That's when you take a moment and catch yourself and say that, okay, I have done this. I need to understand. And you tell yourself, I know you're worried. You tell your own mind, I know you're worried. We have already done whatever we need to do. We have planned it out. Now is a moment to take a breath, take a pause, call it out. So I don't know if the student understood this. I hope she did. To understand that you're overthinking it, call it out, take a breath, and begin again. Each moment, each time. My teacher taught this to me in a kind of a funny way. He said he had these 3 buckets in front of him, right? And we were all wondering, we came into the session, as always, very excited. And he had these 3 empty buckets in it. And he doesn't speak. He's not a man of many words. He just let us settle down, and he will settle down, and he'll wait until we have done with our fussing. Where is my hand lotion? Did I silent my phone? And he'll wait. And then he just started very calmly. He said, do you see these 3 buckets, 3 different colors? We are right now in this present bucket, and this was right here, red in color, in front of him. This is this moment. How many of you came in thinking about whatever was happening, what's going to happen in the future? That's the bucket. Later on, planning your next day, planning your next chore, whatever you're going to do after the class, that's the next bucket. That's not here right now. How many times and how many moments are you giving to fuss about that other bucket? We don't know if that's going to happen. Is it going to happen? Who knows? And intellectually we tell ourselves, आयुष्य क्षणभंगूर आहे असं म्हणतात. But still, we plan, we fuss, we worry. That's there. That hasn't happened. Can you be here in this present moment and breathe? You're alive, you're here, you came, you sat down in this class, you're here. Look around instead of on your phones planning for the next hit. I like to call it the next hit, the next party, the next event. Ooh, that's going to be so much fun. Yeah, I got this. Let's meet up tomorrow night. Well, what about this moment? What about here, right now, whoever you're meeting? Can you look that person in the eye and meaningfully ask that person, how are you doing? And so that bucket went away because we don't know. So he put that bucket underneath. Now he said, what about the bucket that's in the past? That's the past bucket. How many of you have been thinking about what I said to that person yesterday, right? What I did day before yesterday. Oh my God, last month I invited, and this is me, I invited a family. There was this elderly woman. I didn't take care of her very well. Let me go back. Let me rewind. I had invited, and this had happened to me, a family, and there was this mom who came along with the family, and I didn't inquire about whether the mom had any special dietary restrictions. She wasn't able to eat most of the food that I had cooked, the meal that I had prepared. And I genuinely felt bad about it, right? And I kept thinking about this, and I apologized in that moment. I said, I'm extremely sorry. I offered whatever I had. I could bring out something and heat it up, but it's not the same when we have prepared a meal with love, and then it's not the same. And I recognized it and apologized. And the elderly mom she was very forgiving, and she said, please don't worry about this. I especially told my daughter not to bother you with all these food restrictions that I have. But I was thinking about that still today, a month away, and feeling bad about it. And could I maybe stop criticizing myself? I did not do it on purpose. It was an innocent mistake. I couldn't help it anymore. And so can I let it go? There is one more short story I would like to share. ही गोष्ट खरी घडली की नाही मला नाही माहिती, पण दोन संन्यासी बुवांची आहे. एक गुरु होते आणि त्यांचा एक शिष्य होता, आणि ते एका अरण्यातून जात होते. जाता जाता चालता चालता त्यांनी आपले भगवे वस्त्र घालून त्यांच्या स्वतःच्या मंत्रांमध्ये ते मग्न होते. आणि चालता चालता त्यांना एक जागा दिसली जिथे खूपच पाणी भरलं होतं. कुठली तरी नदी वाहून पूर जसा काही झाला होता. तुम्हाला जर ती पार करायची असेल जागा, तर तुमचे पाय वस्त्र ओले होणार होते, खराब होणार होते. आणि तिथे आणखीन काही लोक होती. एक राणीसारखी दिसणारी खूपच सुंदर वस्त्र घालून, तिची पालखी होती, तिचे काही नोकर चाकर होते. आणि ती राणी खूपच त्रस्त होती आणि ती ओरडत होती तिच्या ह्या नोकरांवर, आणि तिला नव्हतं जायचं तिथून. आणि तिला तिचे वस्त्र खराब नव्हते करायचे किंवा काय जे काय होतं, ती खूपच त्रस्त होती आणि रागवलेली होती. हे जे वयस्कर संन्यासी होते, त्यांनी त्या राणीला नमस्कार केला आणि ते म्हणाले, मी तुम्हाला या इथून पार घेऊन जातो. त्यांनी त्यांच्या खांद्यावर तिला बसवलं आणि ते पुढे चालले आणि तिला त्या छोट्याशा त्या जे काय तिथे पूरसारखं झालं होतं त्याच्यावरनं पार केलं आणि तिथे कोरड्या जागेवर जाऊन गवतावर तिला उतरवलं. मग तिचे नोकर वगैरे आले आणि त्यांनी तिच्याकडे बघितलं आणि त्या राणीनी त्या संन्यासाला त्यांना काहीही बोलली नाही, काही नाही, असे झटकले आपले स्वतःचे कापरं आणि निघून गेली. आणि तो गुरु होता आणि त्याचा शिष्य मागून आला आणि ते पुढे चालू लागले. त्यांनी काही एकमेकांशी त्या शिष्यानी काही बोलले नाही. त्याला माहिती होतं की माझ्या या गुरुजींना फार बोललेलं आवडत नाही, त्यामुळे ते शांत होते. चालले पुढे 3-4 तास झाले. शेवटी काय त्या शिष्याला राहवलं नाही. ते म्हणाले, गुरुजी, तुम्ही त्या बाईला, त्या राणीला, ती जी कोणी होती तिला खांद्यावर धरलं कशाला? का बरं तुम्ही हे स्वतःला करून घेतला त्रास? तिने तुम्हाला नमस्कार नाही केला, तुम्हाला काही तुमचे आभार नाही मानले आणि तुम्ही असं का बरं केलं? ती ते गुरुजी थोड्या वेळ शांत होते. ते म्हणाले, बाळा, मी तर त्या राणीला माझ्या खांद्यावरनं 4 तास पूर्वी उतरवलं. तू अजूनही तिला तुझ्या डोक्यात का धरून बसलायस? अशी ही गोष्ट आहे की we carry these burdens in our head. We are not capable of letting go. And so my teacher tells us that to let go, you need to hold each thought, sometimes a worrying thought, sometimes a grief, sometimes a thought of sadness, very, very gently in your hand. So hold that thought. Acknowledge that you're worried and then let it go. And so the practice that we will be doing today, I will guide you through a brief meditation, a 20-minute meditation. And in that, I encourage you to practice this. It's called a practice of 3 R's. And so the first R stands for recognizing. The second R stands for releasing. And the third R stands for returning. So recognize whatever thoughts, feelings that you're feeling. A thought probably comes with some kind of feeling. There is some kind of sadness sometimes in a thought. There is some kind of desire sometimes in a thought. And so you recognize it for what it is in this moment. Yes, I am remembering a moment, an experience, and I'm longing for it. That's the feeling. The longing is the feeling. You recognize it. Then you hold it. You acknowledge it because the thought is real. The feeling is real. It's not fake. You recognize it. And then you let it go. You release it. You return here in this present moment. And आपल्याला माहितीच आहे, काही लोकांना मंत्र आवडतात, हातामध्ये मणी असतात, chanting. Sometimes in this practice, in mindfulness, we just recognize and understand where we are in this moment. So I like to have my feet on the ground. If I'm sitting down on a cushion, then I like to feel my hands on my lap. This moment right here in my body. So this is my return here in this body. This breath, this inhale, this exhale that I feel. And that's my brief moment of mindfulness. That's how I return. And it's no surprise that your thoughts might return back to that original, whatever thought it was, or it will hop on to another branch, another thought, and that's fine. And you practice this again with love. with kindness, not judgment. You're trying not to judge your mind for having the same constant thoughts. अरे हे किती वेळा सांगायचं, तेच 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 डोक्यात विचार येत राहतात. काय मला काही कळत नाही का, असं स्वतःला आपण बरेचदा म्हणत असतो. किती मूर्ख. नो, दॅट्स नॉट यू. You are not an idiot. You are not stupid. By you, I mean myself. I call myself stupid sometimes and I'm thinking, no, that's not me. I might have had a slip. I might have had some kind of a brief moment of mindlessness, but I can always begin again. And as you walk on this path, you will realize, I realize that millions and millions of times I catch myself being mindless. And that's my calling back to this moment of mindfulness. Thank you for being kind. Thank you for being patient, listening to me. And I welcome you. I invite you to sit down now for a brief meditation. I would like you to take a moment to check in. If you're already feeling uncomfortable in your seat right now, you're probably not going to be comfortable for the next 20 minutes. So find a seat anywhere, and you're welcome, of course, to stand up if it becomes too uncomfortable, but find a seat where you think you can be and settle down for 20 minutes. And maybe you have your feet on the floor. And maybe you like to close your eyes. If you do, you're welcome to do that for this meditation. If you prefer to have your eyes open, I invite you to have a soft gaze down towards the floor. And then listen to this bell and allow yourself to drop down into your body. Feel your body breathe. If you can feel this inhale coming into your body, ask yourself, where do I feel it? Do I feel my chest lifting up? Do I feel my ribs opening? The air that's brushing against my nostrils, maybe. And then what about the exhale? Where do I feel it? Can you feel your belly softening? Dropping in inside of your body. Scanning your feet, rooted into the ground. Maybe you feel some kind of tingling. Sometimes there is some kind of pain, an injury, some aching. Acknowledge that. Understand it. It's real. And then move on. Feel your legs, your thighs. A gentle inhale and exhale. Acknowledging your legs, your feet. They work for you. And again, a deep breath in. Maybe feeling your belly rise and your belly softening with your next exhale. This here, where your consciousness can relax within you. This is the real moment of mindfulness. Recognize the thoughts, they are real. Know that you're not trying to build an experience. There is nothing that you're looking for, no special kind of feeling, no special experience. This here, what you feel, is the real thing. This inhale that you feel in your chest is real. Maybe you recognize some kind of heaviness, and that is real too. Recognize the thought that is taking you into the past. Call it out for what it is. It's in the past. And come back to the present, here, in this moment, here that I'm sitting down. This counts. This is real. Coming back. Let my voice bring you back. If your mind has drifted onto a thought, maybe thinking about the future now, come back into this moment. Feel your feet touching the floor. Feel your seat grounded onto a cushion, onto a chair, onto a seat. Can you recognize the weight of your body? Can you recognize how your back feels when you inhale and maybe stand or sit a little taller? Maybe you catch yourself gripping onto something, some kind of tension in your shoulders, in your mind. Can you allow your next breath to release that, to relax it the best you can? Coming back and becoming aware of your presence here in this next breath. Noticing the flavor of this breath. Maybe you recognize that when you're lost in a thought, your breathing becomes shallower. And when you become aware of your body and come back to the present moment, there is a slight deepening of your inhale and a slight deepening of your exhale. May that breath bring you back. Acknowledge whatever pain, hurt, stress, worry that's coming up for you in this moment. Maybe it's a sharp kind of a pain. Maybe it's a felt pain in your body. Maybe with this inhale, you recognize it. And even though you can't help it at this moment, in your mind's eye, you keep a gentle hand on that pain, on that hurt, the felt pain, and the pain that is sometimes held inside of our hearts. A touch, saying that You care. Sometimes the thoughts, the feelings pour down on us like a downpour of rain, drenching us, carrying us with them. That is real. And equally real is this ability of your mind to come back, take a step away from that downpour of the rain, find a corner where you can stand and breathe. Just a few more moments remaining in our meditation today. I invite you to come back each moment, begin again. Allow this inhale to invigorate you. Allow this exhale to find some softness in your body. Counting one inhale and one exhale as this one breath. And let's together all of us sitting here in space, connected in every way that is real. Take 5 meaningful breaths. Inhaling 1, exhaling 1. Inhaling 2, exhaling 2. Inhaling 3, exhaling 3. Inhaling 4, exhaling 4. Inhaling 5, exhaling 5. Allow the bell to bring you back. Thank you. Thank you, Saili. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for showing patience and listening to me blabber.
थँक्यू चैताली. इतकं रिलॅक्सिंग, इन्व्हेगरेटिंग ऍट द सेम टाइम, पण ते करत असतानाच इतकं काम केलं मनातल्या मनात या थॉटवर की म्हणजे आय डोंट हॅव वर्ड्स टू डिस्क्राईब इट. सो थँक्यू सो मच. आपण मला खात्री आहे की लोक दे आर जस्ट कमिंग आउट ऑफ दिस ग्रेट मेडिटेटिव्ह स्टेट, आणि त्यांना काही प्रश्न असतील तर आपण प्रश्न घेऊयात. तर तुम्हाला चॅट मध्ये लिहायचं असेल तर चॅट मध्ये लिहा, किंवा हात वर केलात तर आपण एक एक जणांचे प्रश्न. मी पहिल्या प्रश्नाने सुरुवात करते जोपर्यंत लोक प्रश्न विचारतायत. की आणि तुझ्या गोष्टी तर सुंदरच होत्या, म्हणजे कधी न विसरू आम्ही, आता ह्या विसरणारच नाही. तर या तू 3 बकेट्सची स्टोरी सांगितलीस, की मधली बकेट समजा आपलं प्रेझेंट आहे, आणि एक बकेट पास्ट आहे आणि एक फ्युचर आहे, आणि आपण खरं म्हणजे नेहमी प्रेझेंट बकेटमध्ये राहायला हवं, आयडियल स्टेटमध्ये. पण आपण नेहमी इधर फ्युचर किंवा पास्टच्याच बकेटमध्ये असतो डोक्यात. तर माझा प्रश्न हा आहे की बऱ्याचदा त्याचं कारण असं असतं की वी आर ट्राइंग टू एस्केप द रियालिटी, की जे काय आता चाललंय ते इधर बोरिंग आहे किंवा खूप स्ट्रेसफुल आहे किंवा काही कारण असू शकतं, आणि म्हणून मग आपण पुढचे प्लॅन्स बनवायला लागतो. तू जसं म्हणालीस की पुढे काय एक्साइटिंग आहे, लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू, म्हणजे मग आपल्याला जरा उत्साह येतो, किंवा मग मागचं काहीतरी आठवून तेच सारखं आपलं रटत बसतो. तर जनरली असंच लक्षात येतं. तर मग हाऊ टू एस्केप दॅट, कारण दॅट इज आवर कोपिंग मेकॅनिझम ना, की करंट, हाऊ टू गेट आउट ऑफ माय करंट थॉट.
Thank you, Saili. So this is practice, right? And what I shared with you all today is literally like a tip of an iceberg. What Saili you are referring to is called in the teachings it's called Vedana. आणि आपल्याला वेदना म्हणजे सफरिंग्स असं ट्रान्सलेशन इंग्लिश मध्ये म्हणतात. But that's going deeper into understanding what our mentality is, what our attitude is, and depending on whatever experience we've had, each one of us tends to either go more in the past or in the future. And this mentality of us wanting to escape it is recognizing, well, I want to recap. I want to say that recognizing this mentality, what you're saying of wanting to escape it, and it might be because we are hurt in some way, or might be because we are looking forward to something. But how can you allow that feeling to become real, recognize it and live with it and feel it. And the moment you allow yourself to feel that feeling, you will understand that you have already given yourself room, spaciousness, because there is that awareness inside of you which recognizes that this is an escape mechanism. And you want to connect to that deeper awareness that is you really. And so there is no escape when one understands that there is no escaping from this mind. And the best you can probably do is nurture your own mind and understand this in a real way. The more you're going to help yourself. But yeah, I'm sorry I can't do justice really to that question, because that is another teaching which in itself goes on for 5 days.
नो थँक्यू. पण एक रेकग्निशन आलं. सो थँक्यू सो मच चैताली. एक प्रश्न असा आला आहे की कॅन यू प्लीज रिपीट द 3 R's? Can you just say them again? What
Sure.
are they?
The 3 R's are recognizing, releasing, and returning. So you recognize, you acknowledge, जाणून घ्या. You're not trying to avoid it. Sometimes it's a shameful experience, right? Sometimes you understand that I am ashamed of this, and you recognize that thought, that feeling for what it is, because it's a real human feeling. मनुष्य आहोत आपण, ह्या जगात राहत आहोत. आपल्याला दुःख, कधी लाज, कधी आणखीन काही राग, लोभ, मोह सगळं येणार आहे. आणि हे जे काय आपण आता जे काय आपल्याला वाटतंय ते कॅन यू रेकग्नाइज इट, अँड देन can you release it by holding it carefully in your hand? Sometimes it's sticky, sometimes it sticks to your hand, you're not able to release it, and that too in itself is a reality. And you recognize that too, I am not able to release it at this moment because the pain is too real, the hurt is too real, and that is also okay. That's fine too. And then you return, though. Can you return with that pain sometimes still held in your hand to this body, to this moment, this here? If you are my teacher says that if you are breathing by yourself, right, then there is more right in you than wrong. If you are able to breathe with your own nose, with your own lungs, in your own body, then there is more right in you than wrong. Recognize that, however hurt, however real the pain, the hurt might be in your body. And so recognizing and releasing it, and then returning to your body. Thank you.
Okay, so return means return to the body.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Sometimes with the pain, sometimes maybe without. Sometimes you find some spaciousness. Sometimes the pain is so real that you are only able to maybe sit with it and not necessarily let go of it, and that's fine too. That's fine too.
आणि असंही होऊ शकतं ना की एखादं दुःख आहे, जसं तू म्हणाली की रेकग्नाइज केलं, यू आर ट्राइंग टू रिलीज इट बट इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल. सो वेन you accept it, and when you return to your body, you might still have it, so you still acknowledge that okay, it's there, but I tried to release it. So,
yeah, and it's okay if you're not able to release it at this moment. And again, pain in itself, mindfulness of pain is another topic.
okay. अजून कोणाला प्रश्न किंवा कॉमेंट आहे का? अनघाताई, तुम्हाला काही?
फार व्हॉट आय कॅन से, फार सुंदर तुझी स्टाईल पण छान आहे. अगदी आतल्या हृदयातून तुझ्या येत होतं. यू आर लिव्हिंग व्हॉट यू आर प्रीचिंग, टेलिंग अस. व्हेरी नाईस. थँक्यू सो मच फॉर दॅट. मेडिटेशन तर उत्तम होतं, पण व्हॉट यू आर टोल्ड ऑल्सो, तुझे स्वतःचे एक्झाम्पल्स देऊन असं म्हणजे आपण ते स्वतः एक्सपिरियन्स करतो असं वाटलं. फार सुंदर. व्हेरी नाईस. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच फॉर इट. आणि सगळ्या लोकांनी पण त्या ह्याच्यामध्ये चॅटमध्ये सांगितलंय, किती लोकांनी मनात सांगितलंय की ते फार सुंदर झालं. अँड दे फील रिअली रिलॅक्स. सो थँक्यू द ऑडियन्स अँड थँक्यू व्हेरी मच.
मला वाटतं सुचेताचा हात वर आहे. सुचेता?
Chaitali, this is Suchita Lambor, me Pittsburgh last day, and again, like Anagata said, excellent presentation. I think you're including yourself as a normal human being and not someone above us. की मला हे सगळं येत आहे आणि मी तुम्हाला सांगतेय. That made it really reach us. आणि थँक्यू व्हेरी मच फॉर दॅट. आणि 2 वर्षापूर्वी मी अनघाताईंचा माइंडफुलनेसचा कोर्स केला आणि अजूनही प्रयत्न करते माइंडफुलनेस होण्याचा. पण मला प्रश्न सायली सारखाच होता अबाउट द 3 बकेट्स, जो पास्ट, प्रेझेंट आणि फ्युचरचा आहे. तर आपण जे सगळे इंटेलेक्च्युअल्स आहोत ते आपण आपल्या पास्ट बकेटमध्ये जातो, कारण आपल्याला पाहिजे असतं की आपण काय चुका केल्या आणि त्या परत करायच्या नाही आहेत, म्हणून आपण त्याच्यात सारखे सारखे जातो. आणि मग आपण फ्युचरमध्ये जातो की आता मला हे आपण परत असं नाही करायला पाहिजे. I don't want to make that same mistake for myself, for my family, for the world, for my profession, जे काय असेल ते. आणि त्याच्यामुळे आपण सारखे त्या पास्ट मध्ये पण जातो आणि फ्युचर मध्ये पण जातो. आणि मग हे बरोबर आहे का? आणि ह्याच्यात जे what would you suggest की ह्याच्यातून सारखं प्रेझेंट मध्ये कसं यायचं?
Thank you, Sucheta. Yes, this is a practice. Again, saying from my teacher, he says, tush on your kush. That means, can you bring and sit down on your seat? And as humans, we are going to make this mistake millions and millions of time. कायमच मी म्हटलं तसं तुम्हाला जाणवेल की there have been mindless moments in your days, millions of them. And sometimes ही गरजेची गोष्ट आहे. आपल्याला काहीतरी शिकायचं असतं मागच्या आपल्या कालच्या दिवसापासून. हे झालं, हे लक्षात राहिलं पाहिजे, हे कुठेतरी लिहून ठेवलं पाहिजे. बऱ्याच लोकांना जर्नलिंगचा सवय असते, विच इज अन एक्सलंट थिंग. पण जेव्हा तुम्हाला हे जाणून झालंय, तुम्हाला लिहून झालंय, तुम्हाला यू हॅव अब्झॉर्ब्ड इट विदिन यू, अँड देन यू आर स्टिल गोइंग अँड विजिटिंग दॅट मोमेंट फॉर द 100th time, then can you sit down and find this practice? So I cannot emphasize on this enough, that you have to have a practice. Maybe it's just 2 minutes every day. The practice is what brings you back. So that those 2 minutes on the cushion, on the floor, on a chair, some people like standing meditation, some people like walking. So I have learned all of these. And so whatever your preference is, there is no right, there is no wrong, but right is right and wrong is wrong. So whatever you appreciate in your body, come back to it. And maybe in those two moments, there is just one breath that you said. So sometimes I say, okay, Miss Mindfulness, how many breaths did you do really calmly and, in the present moment, in that past meditation session? Maybe it was just one. And because the practice does not need you to have a special experience, there is no special awakening. आपण मोक्ष आणि निर्वाण आणि ते सगळं जरा सध्या दूर ठेवूया, आणि आपण आता जस्ट एम्बॉडी इन दिस बॉडी, फाइंड दिस प्रेझेंट मोमेंट अँड कम बॅक टू इट अँड रेकग्नाइज दॅट यू हॅव बीन गोइंग टू द पास्ट अँड द प्रेझेंट, अँड that does it all. Come back, tush on your kush. Thank you, Sucheta.
तू आता म्हणालीस त्याला एक फॉलोअप क्वेश्चन असा मी विचारते, की जर तू म्हणालीस की असं बसून डोळे मिटूनच माइंडफुलनेस मेडिटेशन काही म्हणजे करायची हे नाहीये जर तुम्हाला दुसरं, तर नेचर इज अ व्हेरी, किंवा लहान मुलं आर, ऑल दीज आर एजंट्स वेअर वेन यू आर विथ देम यू naturally go into the moment. You can't be somewhere else in your mind. तर how can people use all these other things to be mindful? जर याचं काही एक उदाहरण किंवा काही प्रॅक्टिस असेल थोडक्यात सांगण्यासारखी तर आवडेल.
No, absolutely. So I just attended a retreat. It was called Awake in the Wild, in a meditation center here, and That was my first overnight retreat that I did attend, and it was just outstanding. The experience of being in the nature, sitting down, आपलं गुरुकुल, जी शाळा, जे आपल्या जन्मापासून तशीच शिकत, हे बिल्डिंगा आणि हे सगळं नंतर आलं. आपण झाडाखालीच जाऊन बसायचो असं आपले पूर्वज, असं मी ऐकलंय. शाळा तिथेच होती. त्याला कारण आहे की when you sit amongst the nature in the outside, there is something that helps you connect to the bigger world outside of you, because we are very much inclined to living in our own minds. Anything that can bring us outside is an amazing opportunity. So going out in nature is a great, maybe it's a walk, maybe it's a hike, maybe it's just you planting one tree, one plant in a pot inside of your apartment. There is I myself love to work with children, so I'm a contractor. So I have this, I go twice a week and work with children, and I teach them, and it's an experience that touches my heart every day, and I come back with a smile on my face. And well, what else can I say? Art, people sometimes are really creative. I've seen some beautiful artworks. Maybe it's painting, drawing, sketching. So anything that can bring you back here and make you stay away, I would say, not necessarily away from worries, and in this present moment, even for the briefest of moments, that's worth a lot more
म्हणजे
than
whatever puts you in the zone. मग ते कुकिंग पण असू शकतं कुणासाठी, की अगदी तल्लीन होऊन एखादी डिश बनवायला काही जणांना आवडते, आणि दॅट कॅन बी व्हेरी माइंडफुल ऑल्सो.
हरकत नाहीये. एखादी डिश, वॉशिंग डिशेस इज अ चोर, आणि पण तुम्ही ती माइंडफुली धुवू शकता का? ती अगदी खराब झालेलं पातेलं आहे, तुम्ही अगदी मनाने प्रेमाने घासून त्याला परत स्वच्छ करू शकता का? की आर यू विशिंग दॅट हे मला आत्ता नाही करायचंय, हे तर मी इथून कुठेतरी दुसरीकडे जाऊ शकते का? But can you just be there? Well, this has to be done, so I might as well do it with love and care. Thank you.
Thank you.
अजून कोणाला काही प्रश्न आहेत का? आणि चैताली, तू नक्की कॉमेंट्स वाच, खूप छान छान कॉमेंट्स लिहिले आहेत सगळ्यांनी. इट्स फॉर सम पीपल दिस इज द one of the best sessions they have attended. So thank you very much. जर अजून कुणाला काही प्रश्न किंवा कॉमेंट्स नसतील तर अनघाताई, आपण पुढच्या वेळच्या सेशनचं
सांगते. मी पुढल्या वेळच्या सेशनचं सांगते. एक पुढल्या सेशन आहे माइंड अँड ब्रेन एक्सप्लोरेशन द रिलेशनशिप, आणि आता चैतालीने छान ग्राउंड वर्क करून दिलेलं आहे त्याचं. कारण वी हॅव माइंड आणि ब्रेन. तर सुचिताने जो प्रश्न विचारला, sometimes why can we not let go? So we are neurobiological organism. So पुढल्या सेशन मध्ये what I'm going to do is show some pictures, take you inside the brain and show mind and brain connection, and how do you go from the left hemisphere, जिथे anxiety and सगळं दबलेलं असतं, to the right where it is a more awareness and open mindedness. So you will work through the brain, and brain is plastic, they say, that can be changed, brain. So how do we change brain with your mind? तर जे आपल्याला सगळं अँझायटी आणि पुढलं मागे रुमिनेशन होतं, how can we change? By changing our brain. And it is work. Nothing happens without work. Even mindfulness, bringing it to back to mind, is work. So nothing, you cannot change anything without work. But which is fascinating to see how our brain is also, we can change the brain, and people have done that. Mindfulness changes the brain. Meditation changes the brain. So what are different ways to change the brain so that we can get out of this rumination? And in our temple of mind and body, we can be clean and pleasant and happy. So that's what we are going to do in the next session. So I'm very thankful that you have created the groundwork for it. And now we can go from mind to brain and see that connection, mind, body, brain. That's it.